Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Hazel and welcome. If not, welcome back. So I know I haven't been consistent lately, but y'all give me a break. I was moving, I was shifting, I was doing a lot of things basically, and I still am, but I just decided to do a little something. So you can tell by today's title, we are going to be talking about just the subtle differences that I've noticed during my brief time here. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. If you want to keep watching, if you want to see what I have to say, then keep watching. Y'all, I am literally out in the porch because it's like really noisy in the house and there just isn't good lighting where it's not noisy. So anyway, we're gonna do it here. So the first thing, and these are just like random little things, but the first thing I noticed is that the roads are smoother. And like, you're probably looking at me like, what you mean? But it's like, you know, you wouldn't realize this until you've been driven on different tar, but the tar is way smoother. It just feels like, I know that like in Malawi, when you drive a car, it doesn't feel bumpy or anything. It just feels like grainier texture. I don't know how to explain this unless you've been driven on different grounds, man. Like even in South Africa, if you get driven in South Africa on their roads, literally straight from the airport you get onto the tar, the road just feels smoother, like underneath your butt when you're sitting. It's basically like you're gliding. It feels like you're gliding instead of like being driven on tar. But yeah, that was a random thing that I thought you should know. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about, you guys obviously have the assumption the difference between Malawi and England economy is big, which it is because like, you know, it's huge. But the funny thing is that because England's economy is bigger, it's harder to get a job. I don't know if that makes sense. For those of you watching in Malawi, I know that, you know, most of your parents are like in these like companies and stuff like that. Let me just tell you, like if you came over here, it wouldn't be like that. Even if your mom or dad was like the head of like the UN, and this hasn't happened to me, but just from the experience of trying to look for a job for myself, you know, no matter how much experience you had, no matter who you were, unless you were like the president, it would be really hard for you to get a job with the same level of, you know, uppity up that you did in Malawi. I think it's because in Malawi, people are less educated, and because they're less educated, not a lot of people get those jobs in high positions. You know, everyone else will just, over here, if you're like 16 or 18, you get a job in a grocery store, you know, at the till or something, and that's like pretty normal. In a poor country like Malawi, people doing those jobs are actually people way older, you know, in their 20s, in their 30s, even basically people who couldn't get their papers in school. And because so many older people are doing low income jobs like that, it leaves a lot of big spaces in bigger companies for positions like the ones our parents who were fortunate enough have, you know. And it's just, it's funny because this country has so much money, and yet like it's just, I don't know, it's like that. Like I know so many people over here who have science degrees but like work in a grocery store because there aren't any jobs. Like it's crazy. It's literally, it's crazy. You know, it's funny because if you were to start a business, it would not thrive in Malawi because, I mean it would, but it would just take a lot more effort because there's not a lot of people willing and able to support your brand by buying your products or whatever it is, your service, whatever you sell. Whereas if you came to England, there's that many people, like this place has so many people in it. You are bound to have like 100 or so, even more people that are willing and able to buy your product, even kids, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like in Malawi, the biggest way to get rich would be to, like, you know, get your education and just get a high paying job over there. While over here, the biggest way to get rich would be to start your own company because there's a market for that. You know, at the same time, here, you know, I'm not gonna just completely roll over and say that like salaries here are good. They are. But then the thing is, people think that, you know, once you come here, the salaries are bigger, you get rich, and it's just happily ever after. It's not, because the bigger the economy is, the bigger the salaries, the bigger the expenses as well. So however much it's gonna cost to build a house in Malawi, it's gonna cost maybe 10 times that in another country like England. And so you see that no matter where you go, no matter where the economy is, your salary and, you know, the strength of your currency matches up to the expenses that you're gonna face in that country. So you just gotta be careful, you know, when you're moving around and you're thinking, oh, because I'm in a different country, things are just gonna change. I think the only thing I will say is because this country is so developed is that you have more opportunity to do things that make you happy and to make an impact on the world. But it's I don't want to say it's easy. You still have to put in a lot of effort and work, you know. So that's another thing that I observed since I've been here so far. Another random thing that I've observed is that data is expensive here, but there's Wi-Fi everywhere. So my international viewers, just give me a second. My Malawian viewers, over here, you get 500 megabytes of data for 5,000 kwacha, and you get 3 gigabytes of data for 10,000 kwacha. So you can definitely see the difference, but it balances out because there's Wi-Fi everywhere. You know, there's even, you know, you'll go into a store, which, I don't know, correct me, but over here, if you go into stores, like big stores, whether it be a grocery store like Chipiku, obviously we don't have Chipiku over here, but like the equivalent of Chipiku, if you go to like clothing stores, the network is really bad, like really, like it's bad, like bad. But yeah, it's another random thing. Data's like expensive over here. I mean, I'm not complaining because, I don't know, I'm just not complaining. It doesn't feel like a struggle. I don't know. My shoes are getting wet because it rained outside. Another random thing, you actually have to bring ID with you if you're gonna buy sharp objects in the shop. Even if it's just like a kitchen knife or like scissors for your hair, you literally need to pull out an ID, which I think is a good thing, you know. It's actually quite dangerous here. That's another thing I've noticed. It's honestly, I'm not even gonna try and justify myself, whatever. So another thing, the weather is so random over here. Like compared to Malawi, you sort of have like a structurized seasonal system where if it's the time for rain, it's gonna be the time for rain. If it's hot, it's gonna be hot consistently. But over here, it's like you'll have sunshine, like blazing sunshine for 5 minutes. Then it's gonna rain. Then you're gonna get hailstorm. It's probably gonna snow for 15 minutes. And then the sun's gonna come out again, and it's like, what? It rains almost every day here. I think that's just what it is. It's geographical location. It rains a lot. But yeah, the weather is just so random over here compared to Malawi. Yeah. Another random thing that I noticed is that if you go on Netflix, the shows pop up according to where you are. So I think the main ones are Netflix USA, Netflix Africa, and Netflix UK. So like I grew up watching American television, and I'm into American television shows, and I think it's just really weird for me coming over here because a lot of the shows that I watched back when I was in Malawi, because you sort of get a mix of the shows on Netflix UK and the shows on Netflix US, and like I got here and I'm looking through my Netflix and I don't see my American shows anymore, you know, and it's kind of like where are you, you know? But yeah, for some reason American shows they're not here. Another thing I've also noticed is that maybe this was just common sense, but the weather over here promotes dandruff. So if any of you are planning to go to a cold place, just like be ready for that, because you know I came over and I've never really had a dandruff problem, but like I came over, at first I didn't, like there was nothing wrong, and then I washed my hair and everything, and I did the goods, and literally a few days later, why do I see dandruff in my hair? And it's like, oh no, excuse me, what? You're an intruder, you know, you're not supposed to be there. And it's like, this weather, it's pulling sneak attacks, but we move, so just take care of that. Another weird thing I noticed, and probably one of the weirdest things over here, is that in England, I don't know whether it's the National Housing Council or whatever, but like they'll build a house and then cut it in half, and two different families, and basically those will be classed as two different homes. Two like completely different families will live in them, and they would literally just be divided by a fence outside. And sometimes, you know, if you decide to do renovation on your house, you'll literally find that it's the same roof, the same walls, but halfway through the house, the design is split. So according to what design you want your house to have, you know, this side could have like tiles on the outside or like white bricks, and then this other half of the house will have like red bricks or a different tiling. The same with the roof, and it's just funny. It's like, why do they do that? They literally build whole houses and then just divide them into half by a fence. And it's like, you don't bump into each other or anything. Like inside the house there's like a proper like wall dividing the two houses, but I think it's just funny how they do that. Also, one of the other bigger things that I noticed is that, you know, from my friends in Malawi, I don't want to put it on them, but living in a third world country, when you look at countries with bigger economies, you'd think, oh, because they have better economies, you know, they have more money, you know, they can just buy things however they want. And y'all, so I went out and I just came back. That's why I got this coat on, and I decided to keep it on because it's warmer. Like out here in the porch, it's cold anyway. And you tend to wonder how people, I don't know, you just see all these cool cars on TV or these expensive things, you can afford those things, and you must just think, oh, there's like lots of money over there. That's not really how it is. I just think that in Africa we don't use credit because a lot of things here are bought on credit. People will go insane with credit. They will go and buy a house on credit. They will buy a car on credit. They will go and buy a phone on credit, and a lot of things as well, like cars and phones. I'm sure you've seen these on ads on TV. But you can pay monthly installments. So like for phones, I feel like if a phone was like £1,000,000 kwacha, which is like £1,000 over here, it wouldn't be such a big deal over here, because it'll be £1,000, but they'll probably tell you like you can pay £20 per month or £50 per month, you know. So it's not like there's like an insane amount of money over here. It's just over here people are better at managing their finances in ways that they're able to pay for things, you know, little by little. So don't be fooled. Anyway, that's pretty much all I had for you today. So let me know if you enjoyed that, if you want to see more content like this. You know, if there's anything else you want to see or hear from me, let me know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.